Hi everyone, my name is Waliyah and welcome to another installment of Mindset Mondays. Today's topic is, are you an a-hole? Excuse the clickbait title. I wouldn't really want to use that term and call somebody an a-hole, but what we mean is, are you existing in your non-optimized version? Are you in the less nice version of yourself? Are you acting in your not so good side, what we might call your shadow? And, because a lot of the time, in all of your interactions in which you get negative feedback or unpleasant situations, you are the common denominator. So the question we're just basically trying to say is that, is there a blind spot that you have or a situation that you need to look into or a specific attribute about yourself? First way you would know that is, do you have a cyclical pattern in a specific way or instance at work or home or in your personal life that you do not like the outcome of it? And have you connected a thread of data points where people have said the same similar thing out of frustration about you? If you're still not sure, ask a friend, ask somebody who's known you for a long time and say, you know what, I'm actually curious. Do I have a blind spot? Is there something I do that isn't great? Give me some feedback. Or if you suspect that thing is an issue, ask the person. If you don't want to do so, feel free to continue living your life the way you're living your life. But if there is something that is less than desirable with regards to the outcome, you might want to have a look at it. Okay? Now, what I mean is, all human beings are reasonably selfish, right? But I think the world would be a better place if there was a lot more self-awareness and less selfishness. Self-awareness is that you are very cognizant of you and your intrapersonal relationship within yourself, your grounding, your sense of self, your sense of self-worth, and so many other different things. And you know who you are and you stand firm in it. And then interpersonal relationships with everyone. That is having a reasonable amount of emotional IQ. Now, we all have some blind spots and gaps. So a few things about selfishness is, when you're speaking to people, it's a natural human situation that when someone's speaking, you're already thinking up your response. So in your head, you're planning what you're going to say back. Are you actually taking a second to actually listen to what the person is saying? We could all do with a lot better communication. So what we could do is, when we're talking to a friend, we ask the friend, do you want me to listen or do you want me to opine on this? Do you want my feedback? Do you want me to help you devise a solution? Which one? And in turn, the other party who is doing the talking should ask, how much capacity do you have today? Because you don't want to be emotionally dumping on somebody else. So you tell the person that, do you have the space to listen, or the capacity today to listen to me drone on? We need to get honest with each other and say, okay, I just want to get a few things off my chest. I trust your opinion, so I wanted to walk you through what happened to me yesterday, or what I'm upset about, or I would like your feedback, or simply, if you want the person's empathy and you actually don't want their opinion, then let them know that. So it's a two-way street on both sides. We need to get super clear as to what we're having a conversation about, because that helps a lot of conflict. It minimizes things a lot. Now, in addition to that, what I would say is, when we're speaking, if the person does want some feedback, this is almost like how to be a good friend 101. That feedback should be given in light of who you're speaking to. We seem to be bleeding all over each other. There's all sorts of trauma-informed sort of conversations and statements that people make, okay? Because, for example, I can say, I have an issue with my dog, right? And the other person has always had a wonderful relationship with animals and they can't identify. But that person shouldn't belittle me by saying, well, it must be your fault. You're the one, you must have brought this out of them. Or how can you be so cruel to animals? How can you? And it's just, that person is projecting because they're talking about their scenario. If you've always had a great relationship with your husband or your sister or your cousin and somebody else is having a difficulty, if you simply cannot empathize, then you just don't have that ability. I've come across scenarios like that I understand that this person has a limit. They don't have that, we just don't have that dynamic, and I will never ask them for advice again, because their advice is a pure projection of their own myopic view. They have a rose-tinted view of something do you see what I'm saying? Because on some level, somebody can only advise you based on their experience, which is why we have to all get a lot more self-reliant. I'm a big believer in another thing to minimize stuff, boundaries. Boundaries should be existing both ends. This is something that has become bigger and bigger in my life every month. I only started properly practicing them a year or two ago, increasingly so. I'm still not there yet. But the more I'm doing this, I'm finding, because I'm in the trenches with you guys every day, I'm finding that I'm garnering much better self-respect, my own self-respect, and obviously respect from other people. Because a boundary is basically making sure that we're not blurred, the lines don't get blurry, you don't overstep your mark in somebody's life, you give them respect and space, and vice versa. So there's a saying that I have boundaries because I've learned my lesson. And that's so true, because it doesn't matter if a person doesn't mean you harm or they mean you well, just in case you're not oversharing, you're not in their space too much, you're not overexposing yourself, because there's an African term called sea finish, which is just over familiarity. And when that happens, a lot of disrespect can creep in because you're there too much, or you've exposed yourself to disrespect. So a boundary is you basically placing customs and exercise, like a customs and immigration sort of limit on everybody and everything, just to make sure that things are, just to make sure that everyone is being honored. So how that works is you are taking full ownership and you're responsible for anything that goes wrong in your life. So before it goes wrong, why were you? People are very particular about their fridge or their home or whatever, and you weren't tampering in that, or you learn not to stay with people, in some instances, because they have their set ways. If you had exerted boundaries, you would have removed yourself from situations where they had cause to be angry at you because you let them down. You see, so it's all about reading the room and understanding your role in people's lives and acting accordingly. So not overstepping the mark, not overburdening people. It's actually good manners. So it's so important to me, and I'm so happy that I started to learn about that. So those are just a few points. Let me know if any of this helps.